Today, I thought I'd put you to the test, testing your knowledge, of course, and applying intelligence from what you find to the knowledge that I am about to provide. So, before I spend money, I always look at my money. Even if I'm using a debit card, I will look at my debit card while I'm sitting in the parking lot before I go in the store. If I have cash in my hand, I look at every dollar bill, including the coins, sitting in my car before I even enter the store. And why do I do that? Because there's a huge difference between what you need and what you want. Things that you need can be anything from food to duct tape. Okay? So when I enter the store after I have already looked at my money, I often stand for a moment at the front of the store. Unless, of course, I have to go to the bathroom, and then I bolt to the bathroom, go to the bathroom, and then I stand in the front of the store. And I think at the front of the store, let's use Walmart. Walmart is a great example. Why is that? Because they have an abundance of items, minute in size, all the way up to larger type items available for purchase. So I think for a moment while I'm there at the front of the store, after I have already looked at my money, which is not much sitting in my hands, I think about all of those daily purchases that all add up. And as I'm walking around the store, frankly, I get annoyed at the number of people in the store where you have to, pardon me, excuse me, pardon me, excuse me. Okay, that stuff. And then as I'm checking out, I notice the lines at the self-checkout, at the registers that are occupied by cashiers. And as I walk out, I pause for a moment and I look at all the cars in the parking lot visiting on that particular day at that particular moment. And then when I get back in my car, I think to myself, which you all should be thinking the same thing. How many billions of dollars are collected every day in the form of sales tax that goes right into the government's hand by our daily wandering around picking up things that we, I hope, first need and then want in the form of everyday commerce, or let's say the trade that goes on. Do you ever think about that? They collect billions of dollars every single day in the form of sales taxation. And my other pondering question is always, is it really money that drives them to do the most absurd things to the rest of us? Or is there some underlying issue with them? Because if it's all about money, where they think they have to justify the taking, it doesn't really ethically or morally sift out correctly for me. Now think about it. Every sale is a taxable sale at 8% or more in the state of New York. You know, you get closer to New York City and it's like 8.75 or whatever it is. They have different sales tax brackets. So every one of these counties get paid a boatload of cash, not just by you walking in and making your purchases, but all online purchases. And I often find myself just observing. Like, I will sit in a parking lot waiting to pick up an order for like McDonald's. And while I'm sitting there, I am very observant to the number of cars that flow in and out of that parking lot with a sign hanging above that says, "We have served, 3 billion people." Now think about it. Fast food is a taxable purchase. So the number of people flowing in and out, the online orders, the pickup orders, the delivery orders, there should be no, if they manage their money correctly, you would think that there would be no state debt, let alone national debt, but there is. And then when you start looking at all the other forms of taxation and all the fines, penalties, and fees, and interest that they collect, everything, everything. And the thing that bothers me personally is, how dare you take my personal belongings? How dare you? How dare you step into my realm of existence, as petty as it was, when I had already gone through all my things and weeded out everything? And the stuff that I was going to carry forth with me was so reduced already. And then you just took it all. At what point in time can we say enough is enough? Government employees are not supervised. They might have supervisors attached to them that signs their paychecks, their pay increases, affords them some additional transportation at the taxpayer expense. But for the most part, they're not supervised. They get to run around and do whatever the fuck they want. They're rarely reprimanded. I mean, we're seeing some of it now, but think about all the years that went by where you didn't see that stuff. And the only reason why we're seeing it now is because people have stepped forward, and I commend those people, to conduct these independent audits. If you want to boast about the origin of the United States and the Constitution of the United States and all that stuff, if those are the threads that are holding this country together, if you want to call it a country, and you didn't hold yourself on steady course using those documents as your guide all along, then what is it? What is the strand that binds us all together on a common platform under the territorial lines outlined as such, blanketed under this umbrella called the United States? If you can answer a couple of those questions, and if you want me to go over them really quickly with you, sales tax. How many billions of dollars per day do you think the state of New York, or any state, the state that you reside in, that has sales tax, how much money do you think they collect on average every day by the footprints made in and out of all of these business establishments where commerce and trade is conducted? And then the other really important question is, what is that strand? The long-standing, continuous, unbreakable strand in the United States that binds us all together to show and prove to the world that we are Americans. What is it? I don't know what that is. And if there was such a strand, it does not exist. It was not held historically in place throughout all this time. Somehow got lost in the mix. Well, it can't be your beliefs. It can't be, we shall not, under any circumstances, ever do this. It isn't, we're the country that ensures all inhabitants have food, clothing, and shelter at minimum. Can't be that. We have too many homeless people. What is it? What's the common strand, almost like a bond, that holds us all together? And don't tell me currency. Don't tell me currency. Because if that's the only thing that holds people together here, under the classification of we're all Americans, I would say you're definitely wrong. So I'll leave it up to you. If you can answer those questions and I accept them for what you're telling me, then I guess those questions will be answered. But until then, I think those are wide open questions that need to be answered correctly.